tremendous crowds which you see gathered outside the stock exchange are due to the greatest crash in the history of the New York Stock Exchange.
Good evening. Today is Black Monday, the day the Dow dropped more than 500 points. The day the Dow dropped more than 20.
The Dow tumbled more than 500 points, sat down by bad mortgage investments. Lehman, which has 25,000 employees, will be liquidated.
It is definitely a very, very difficult time, and it's not going to get better quickly.
Recession. Just that one word is enough to summon up images of graphs depicting downward trends, alarming news headlines, fear, unemployment, bankruptcy, and it's all true. During times of recession, the stock market falls. House prices for businesses go bankrupt. People lose their jobs, life savings are lost, pensions that people are putting money in since the start of their working careers vanish. Nobody is winning, or are they? If recessions were so bad, why would someone like Warren Buffett, who's the fourth richest man in the world, to say he hopes to see a lot of recessions? How did a company like Groupon, which started in the jury of the peak of the 2008 financial crisis, spread to 300 markets in 35 countries within the space of 2 years? Meanwhile, other businesses are collapsing. Why would Panera Bread's executive chairman and founders say the best time to grow is in a recession? While some see recession as a time of turmoil, it looks like others are seeing it as a golden opportunity. And if you wonder why that is, or how you, this one watching the video, can profit from a recession, then keep watching, because I'm gonna show you how recessions have created more millionaires than lottery winnings have. And by the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to take advantage of the next inevitable recession that comes our way. And here's a little tip. The younger you are, the more you're gonna pay attention to this. The health of a country's economy is usually measured by its GDP, which stands for Gross Domestic Product. For simply, the GDP measures the total value for all the goods and services in a country. So every time you get a coffee or a haircut or buy a new car, all of those things contribute to your country's GDP. Generally, a growing GDP is good and a declining GDP is bad. And if a country's GDP is declining for 6 months, then it is considered a recession. People who start spending much money, business profits will decline, people will lose their jobs, and then they can't repay debts, etc, etc. Recession can really lead to a downward spiral. And you're probably wondering, hey Faisal, I get that, but what causes a recession? And there's a thing, you never really know for sure. There are so many factors and variables that contribute to any recession that is hard to pinpoint one thing, which leads us to the first rule. Nobody can predict the market.
Okay, if you're Warren Buffett or if you're Jimmy Buffett, nobody knows if the stock is going to go up, down, sideways, or in fucking circles.
Does that make you anxious? Because if you're going to profit from a recession, there's one thing you need to know. Do not panic. Because no matter how the market looks, there's one thing people like Warren Buffett know for sure. The market will always bounce back. Write that one down. Because it's all fun and games when the economy is in boom. But when the inevitable crash happens, guess what people do? They panic and they start to sell their homes. So the homes they own decrease in value and they sell it. And the stocks they own decrease in value and they sell it. Why not? I mean, you said you can predict the market, Faisal. Perhaps it would have been more accurate for you to say you can't time the market. Because one thing is for sure. The market will always eventually crash. So there are your 3 rules, remember them clearly. And don't panic. The economy is booming. People are spending their money like crazy, buying the latest clothes, gadgets, whatever their hearts desire. It is consuming time. And that means credit cards are flying out of wallets and people are racking up debt like crazy. But it's all good because the economy is flourishing. So what are you doing? Now is the time to sharpen your weapons, rally your army. Because while everyone's being greedy, this is the time to prepare for disaster. Remember, the market will always crash. Although you might not know when, how, and why, it is always important to prepare before it happens. The first step is to stop spending like everybody else. Start saving and building up your capital. Avoid debt as much as possible. Build up your credit score. When that inevitable crash comes, you'll be the one with deep pockets and a healthy credit score ready to take advantage of the juicy low interest rate that comes with a recession. There's nothing worse being surrounded by gold with no tools to harvest it. Go all in that? Good. Because there's an economic collapse on the way, and it's time to make your riches. Death, divorce, defaults. It is these three things that reign supreme during a recession. In a society where money is heavily relied upon for keeping the system going, the collapse of that very object has dramatic consequences. And the bigger the crash, the harder the hit. In a recession, you can expect people to lose their jobs, and you can expect people who still kept their jobs to have their income reduced. This means people will be unable to pay things like mortgages or any other debts that they have racked up during the sweet times of economic boom. There's a rise in panic and in fear, and everybody is selling. They're selling their stocks, they're selling their houses, they're selling assets that they once see grow in value, now decline. Nobody is even thinking about investing their money. But you've prepared for this, haven't you? See, behind all that panic and fear of everybody else in the media, there's a gold mine of opportunity. Again, death, divorce, defaults. These three things are riddled with opportunity. It's just a matter of choosing how you want to make your profit and running with it. So what should you be doing during this time of economic collapse? That's right, invest back into the very economy that is collapsing. And while that sounds silly to the people around you, you know something that they don't, that the market is always going to bounce back. And here's the best investment advice you can get. Buy low, sell high. Let's look at real estate. The more motivated and urgently someone needs to sell their home, the more likely they are to sell their house for cheaper. And guess what the three biggest motivations for the people are to sell their home? Death, divorce, defaults. With those three things already on the rise during an economic collapse, real estate becomes cheaper. Homeowners are becoming desperate to sell their houses. And to make matters even worse, guess what happens to the amount of people who are willing to buy a house? There are fewer and fewer of them. I mean, all through the people are losing money. They don't have the finance to buy a house. And with all these motivated sellers, along with the cheap real estate on the rise, guess who's gonna come in and take advantage of it? This is why preparation is so key. Because by now you should have a good amount of capital saved up and a healthy credit score, so that banks are more likely to trust you when you come to them to ask to borrow money to buy a property. Your strategy from here can differ. You can buy a property and let it out for a long period of time to generate some sweet cash flow. If you bought the property at a really low price, it wouldn't be hard for you to start seeing returns on it. Others will let it out during a recession, and when the real estate market bounces back up, as it always will, you can then sell it and get some generous returns on that. Not feeling rich enough yet? Let's look at the stock market. Just like real estate, stocks are cheaper. After all, people are losing their faith in the market. Nobody wants to invest. And what's one of the biggest influences in the stock market? Emotions. During a recession, everyone is selling the shares out of fear. I mean, these people have put so much money in the stock market. They are now seeing all of the shares decline. I mean, for them to even salvage a bit of that money is to just sell. If only they knew what you knew, which is the market will always bounce back. Now it's time to open up that wallet and go bargain hunting. Because in a recession, everything is on a discount. Let's look at the S&P 500 as an example. This is an index fund that is built up of the top 500 companies in the United States. During the 2008 financial crisis, that S&P 500 dropped 35%. But if you would have invested in the S&P 500 during the 2008 financial crisis, you would have 4 times your investment. Because right now S&P 500 is at the highest that it has ever been. Let's look at businesses. Yeah, not all businesses fail during a recession. In fact, there have been many that have thrived. Let's look at the 2008 financial crisis again because it's a recent one that happened. I've already mentioned Groupon, which grown exponentially during that period of time. Another one is Walmart and another one is Dollar Tree. What do these businesses have in common? They're in some way related to cheaper prices and discounts. And I mean, it's not hard to see how that can come in handy during a time of a financial struggle. And just like any business, money comes in when you solve people's problem. And a company that is offering cheaper prices on necessities like groceries and other services, they're gonna make a ton of money. But you wanna know what other companies profited during the 2008 recession. Hasbro is another example. Hasbro is a toy manufacturer for brands like Power Rangers, Transformers, My Little Pony, Monopoly. Netflix during the recession gained 3 million members. In fact, many companies in the sin industries, which includes things like tobacco and alcohol, for the exception of gambling, do really well during a recession. Notice the trend? A lot of these companies are selling escapism. It makes sense, right? The recession is hard. A lot of people are struggling. The last thing they want to do is just think about that. So just turn on the Netflix, the YouTube, buy a toy for your child, sip a glass of wine at night, and don't think about your worries. It's by copying and investing in businesses like these that allow you to replicate these similar results during a recession. Although the entrepreneurial route is a much riskier one, and once you've made your purchases, it's time to sit back and wait for this recession out before the economy, as it always does, bounce back up. And there you have it, the recession rich.
Because the last time we had like a big crash in the US, I made so much money. It was ridiculous.
Of course, the most important part of all this was the preparation stage. And whilst you can't time the market, you just know that the crash is going to happen at some point. Now, the last recession that has happened, I was only a kid back then. It was 2008 crash, but my dad, for example, was heavily into property, and I know he benefited a lot from these investments during that period. Generally, the market is always growing, so the more time you keep your investments in the market, the more profits you can see come from that, which is why I say the younger you are, the better. Now, a recession can be a very difficult time for a lot of people. While I'm not jumping and enjoy the next recession to happen, it will happen at some point, so you might make something from it. Thank you so much for watching this video, but relax before you click off this video. Please give it a like. If you enjoyed it, it will make my day. I appreciate all of your feedback, and trust me, if you comment down below, I will respond to you. And if I made it this far in the video, you are amazing. If you want to see more entertaining documentary style videos on business, finance, or life in general, hit the subscribe button and hit the notification bell so you know whenever I post. These videos take a long time to edit, so I'll support your feedback whether it's good or bad. But with all that being said, thanks again for watching. I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day.